Good afternoon. This is Tuesday, December 15th, 2009. My name is Larry Harris. I'm a volunteer here at the Palm Springs Air Museum in California. And part of our mission is to record and preserve the history of the military conflicts, particularly World War II. And as part of the Veteran Historical Project in the Library of Commerce, we conduct interviews of veterans and civilians who participated in this conflict. Today we have the honor of interviewing Mr. Walt Tunstall, and he served in the Navy, and he will give us some details on this. We'll talk about his family, we'll talk about his personal happenings and likes and dislikes, and he's free to say anything he wishes, and we hope that he will put the things into this DVD that his family will be able to preserve and remember him and his experiences. We talked to him about his military experiences toward the end of it, and it's nice to have you here, Mr. Tunstall.
Thank you, Larry.
And now, to keep our record straight, would you please pronounce your and spell your name and state your birth date?
Yes, Bowler Tunstall, October 25th, 1916 is when I was born. And see, anything else about that?
That's good
Okay.
enough. Let's start at the beginning.
Yes.
Where were you born? When were you born? And what about your early childhood and so forth?
Yeah, I was born in 1916, October 25th, in Camden, New Jersey. Had a wonderful mother and father that took care of me, and I played a lot of ball when I was little, a lot of baseball, and it just was it was kind of nice because I got involved in the baseball, which was a big part of my life and gave me something to do and something to look forward to, and I met some awfully nice people that I played with. So it was pretty nice time back there. My parents never had a car. I didn't have any money, which a lot of people didn't in those days. But so we ate home every night. Never went to a restaurant. Never went on a trip. No money. But you didn't think about it then, because that's the way it was. So
Nobody else had it either.
nobody else either. And then I had a super brother. And the two of us would play. We'd throw balls against the house and catch them and play a little ball. But he died at 55 years old. I never understood why he went and I was still alive. I couldn't understand what happened there. He just got sick at his job. And he was the nicest guy in the world, but he didn't last very long in the 50s. That's pretty low.
Unfortunate part of life, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What about your dad and mom? How were they in your
My
childhood?
mother was terrific. She lived to 98 years old, was never sick, cooked every night. We were home all the time, and my dad opened the grocery store. He started a grocery store, so I would go down there and deliver with my car groceries to people, put them on the front railing there and drive it. And then my mother would come down. She worked a little bit too there. And then we'd walk down and walk home when we were all through. And it was a nice store, good little store, and it was kind of nice. Enjoyed something to do.
What about your parents? Did they come from Europe, or were they native born?
They were both born in the United States,
Mhm.
and they had, pretty nice, brought up pretty nice by their parents. And
What did your father do, did you say?
my father opened a grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
He got into the grocery business, and then I went down and I worked there, and I delivered mostly with my bicycle. Deliver
Yeah.
to people not too far. Everybody was pretty close around. And it was a pretty nice business, and met some nice people, and got a few tips when I delivered the merchandise to them. 10 cents or something, which that day was pretty good.
Yeah. When a family had a business, it became a family business. 'Cause everybody
Yeah.
it seemed worked.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They worked my dad worked in the store all the time, and he had some help down there, but it was a small store, but they did all right. We lived and never starved or anything like that, you know.
What about your grandparents? Were they influential at all?
The grandparents lived. They didn't live too close there. They lived up in New York, and we would see them once in a while. They'd come down and visit a little bit, and they were awfully nice to us, and
Yeah.
it was just fun to get together once in a while. They didn't live close enough where we were
Yeah.
real.
What about your neighborhood as far as you and your buddies and the quarter ball games?
Yeah, the neighborhood was pretty nice. We had some people who lived 2 doors away from Camden there, and they had a car, they had a little, and so they would pick me up every once in a while, take me on a ride in the car. And boy, I got interested in automobiles, but wasn't too much I could do about it. But it was nice neighbors. Everybody was really nice and quiet, and no problems with anybody.
But you were a depression baby, obviously,
It was a
by your age
depression. It was
when
a
you were
depression.
born.
That's right, it was a depression.
Yeah.
And as I say, but it's amazing when you never read anybody getting shot or killed, or
Yeah.
automobile accidents. There just wasn't much going on. It was a very quiet life. You just lived your own way and got up when you wanted and did what you want. And
Well, being a depression time, but your father did have a grocery store, so therefore you did have income.
we had food, yes,
Uh-huh.
and that was pretty important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice store, and he was very popular with the people, and so he had a good little business there.
Yeah.
Worked pretty nice, right downtown.
Mm-hmm.
It was only 15-minute walk from our house. And of course, we'd walk home and we closed the store at night.
What about school when you were a kid? Elementary school.
School, yeah, we lived about, well, first I went, kindergarten, and my parents took me and dropped me off, and it was a nice little place, and then we had our high school was up the street from us, just a couple of blocks, and so I went there, and then I decided I wanted to go to work. And so I quit school and went to 2 years in school. And then went with my dad and worked with him a little bit. And then I got into in a little bit of selling little things that I wanted to sell, cars and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally got into the automobile business.
That's your love of cars. You couldn't afford your own at the start.
No, but yeah, I was 42 years in business. I leased automobiles, and the nice part about it was I never took an application from anybody who they were or whatever. Just if I got to know them. Of course, I belonged to 8 different private country clubs, golf clubs. And you played golf with guys, and it's just like we had a new member come in one day, and I played with him. He get on the 4th hole. He says, "Well, what do you do, Walt?" I said, "I got a leasing company." He said, what do you lease? I said, I lease automobiles. Oh, he said, I'm looking for a car. You got a card? And they were the kind of people I had. I never had a loss in 42 years. But if a guy's a member of a private club, where's he going? I mean, this is where he is.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any problem. So that's where all the business came from. I never advertised in the car or in the paper. Never advertised. All I did was know people that I leased, and therefore I took no application. What do you did? How much? How much do you want to pay? $300 a month, $250, whatever you say. I don't care. And so it was an awful nice business. But then I had a lot of time off because I worked alone, and I played golf all the time.
What's your handicap?
I was a 9 for 30 years, 9 handicap,
That's good.
and never hit the ball far, but I hit it straight. And I still play now at the club at Chaparral Country Club, and we live right on the 4th hole. So like I did last night, jump in my cart and go out and played. I played 5 holes last night. Nobody, people are all gone at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They're not playing, and it's kind of nice to have something like that, a hobby that you can do. And then I join in the Niners. They play 9 holes, play every Monday and Thursday, and a nice group of you're paired. You sign up and you're paired with different guys each time you play. So it's kind of nice to be in that. Without the golf business, I don't know what I would have done all my life. But that job of 42 years was awfully nice to not have
But
any
you became a wealthy man with a handicap like that.
Well, I never was real, but I never had any problems with money. I mean, you didn't need a lot of money because we didn't do that much. We didn't go and travel anywhere. We didn't go anywhere. But then when I got the lease business, then got into a little more activity.
So you were never really into one car like a dealership. Yours was all
I
kinds
bought
of cars.
the cars. What I did, I started a leasing company, Tunstall Leasing, Walt Tunstall Leasing.
That's
And
when leasing wasn't real popular like it is now, was it? Or was it?
Well, the big part of it was, I went into the dealerships, Chevy, Cadillac, whatever the people, and got set up with them as a leasing company. So I got a discount on everything, big discount, for just like big auto companies. They all get big discounts, the dealers and everything. So I got big discounts, and I never had a problem leasing a car. I mean, they couldn't buy them that cheap,
Yeah.
and they felt a lot more comfortable, I guess, away from the dealership itself.
Yeah.
They were dealing with me, and they knew what the price was, and then when I gave them a price on it, hey, sounds good to us. So it was a good deal to have that contact and that.
Now, when you graduated from high school, what was your life like? Did you have a car then when you got out of school?
Yeah, that's when I started going into the business, and I went to work in a dealership right there in Camden, selling cars on a little outside deal. They had automobiles to buy, sell, lease, or leave your car to get sold, and so I was into that automobile business, and then I think I worked quite a few spots there in Camden, and then I think one day I met a guy. Geez, I can't remember the whole deal. And what the heck was it? I got talking to him about something, and he said, "Oh, what do you do?" or something. I said, "Well, he says, "You ought to get into the lease business." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well," "I'm in the lease business in Chicago, and I lease cars." I said, "Oh, no." Well, he says, "I don't know anything about So he told me a little bit about the deal. So then I went back home and, geez, I think I'll try that. So I got it, started it, and got out of the other business. I quit the other places that I was selling cars to. But it was a different world then.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have any problems really. That
A young man that had good cars to drive must have had a lot of girlfriends.
oh well, automobiles were, you know, they were pretty important in
Yes,
those
they
days.
were.
If you had a car, you were in good shape. So and it was nice to have something good.
He was known as the Camden Flash.
He what?
He was known as the Camden Flash.
I bet he was.
But, no, it's great to. And then when these people got through with their cars, you know, I said, well, why don't you try to sell your car? If you can, I'll be happy to help you. And so I got a lot of sell them a new car and then sell their car for them.
Yeah.
But the business then was, especially the automobile
Different.
business.
Okay, did through some of these dates and so forth, having nice cars, did you get married when you were young or older?
Well, I was 22 years old. I dated a couple girls there in Philadelphia. You know, right? Because then I went over and worked at the Philadelphia Philadelphia Navy Yard, and then
Oh, this was during the time you were leasing cars, or
no,
was
this is before.
it before?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is before I got into business, and so I met a couple of girls, and they were nice. I didn't have a car or anything, you know. I just drive the bus and drop them off, and then go home. And then I met this girl close to our house in the neighborhood, and she was very nice, and we dated a little bit and danced and, you know, music and stuff. And so I came home one day after, I guess I knew her a month or two, and she lived with her mother. The father was dead, wasn't alive. And she said, Walter, she says, you're getting married. I said, oh? She says, yeah, in 2 weeks.
Whoa.
I said, oh. So I went home and I couldn't sleep all night.
I'll bet not.
I don't want to get married. So
This was a parental guidance program, was it?
I just didn't want to, you know, that was her mother. And said, we're getting married, So then I told my parents, I was living with my parents, of course, and I said, well, I think I'm going to leave, and there's a job in Texas. I can get in the shipyard in Texas, because I called, and, hey, fine, you've got experience from the shipyard.
Yeah.
And so I told my parents, I said, well, I think I'm going to leave. And I got a car, got a nice little Chevrolet coupe, and I decided to leave town. So I never called them or didn't do anything. And I said, Carol, now, I told my wife, I said, no, just tell them that I had some parents in Texas. I says, I'm going down to Texas.
It was your mother evidently that decided this, that you were going to get married?
Oh, no, her mother,
Oh,
the girl I was going with.
I see.
Yeah, oh, no, my parents they didn't bother me at all. And do whatever I wanted to do, you know.
Yeah.
So anyhow, no, that was kind of a funny deal there to be in that position. So I got that car. I said, I'm going to leave. So in 4 days, I left. Now, I've never been out of Camden, New Jersey. I drove, and the first night. Second night, I'm down in Virginia, on my way to Texas, which I didn't even know where the hell it was. I have a map here. So anyhow, driving. Oh, jeez, I got to talk to somebody. You know, I got a little bit lonely by myself. So it was the afternoon, and the schools were all out. I went down the end of town. This guy's hitching. And, so you need a ride? He said, yeah. So we got in. We drove down. He said, well, he says, you can drop me off here. We were down in South Carolina. And I said, well, where do you live? He says, I live 10 miles. Well, I'll drive you over. I mean, what the hell, I have nothing. So I went over and stayed with him.
No.
And they had a daughter, and I dated her for a couple of days, and then I got that. So I called around, and I finally called down to Tampa, Florida. And there was a shipyard that they had a job. And so they said, fine, come on down. So then I left these people, drove to Tampa, Florida, and then that's when I went, after I was working there, then I went and joined the Navy from there. And met my wife down there, and I was going out with this guy. I met this guy, and we rented a condo. A nice fella, and we'd go out at night and go to these dance places, restaurants, you know, where they danced.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, we're down there, and then I started to get tired of it. It was a Thursday, and we'd been out for a couple of nights. He was dancing, and he said he was going home after the next dance. He says, we'll go home. And so, so I look in the door, and here comes a man and lady and a girl. I took a look, and oh my God, I like the looks of her.
Love at first sight.
That's right. So they came in, I watched, they went over and got a table and sat down. So I got up and went over and said, could I have the next dance with you? And they looked at me like, and all of a sudden he says, oh, yeah, that's fine. I found out later that he worked in the shipyard where I was working. And he must have known who I was, not much, but he knew who I was.
Was he
So I
out
went-
with her on a date when you?
No, it was his daughter. His
Oh.
wife and his daughter, and I wanted to dance with the daughter, of course. So we went out and took a couple steps. I said, "You ever play golf?" She says, "Yeah." She says, "I've played golf." I'm like, hugged her a little closer. I said, "Hey, this is it. We got something together here." So that was it.
Life was so simple in those days.
That's right. It was simple. Then I went with her. I saw her every night.
Yeah.
We'd go over to her place. I couldn't kiss her for 2.5 weeks. I mean, that's the way it was in the
Oh,
geez, she was very nice,
Yeah.
but hey, nothing's going on here. And so then finally we got married, and that's when I told her I was going to go in the service. I said,
Yeah.
I think the country needs some volunteers.
Now, have Pearl Harbor occurred yet, or was this before Pearl Harbor?
This was after Pearl Harbor.
After Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, it was. I joined the Navy in 42, 1842. That's when I went into the Navy,
Yeah.
and it was pretty nice. We had no problems. I mean, you know, we got attacked a few times out in on our ship on our way to Italy, and but
Okay, let's back up then. Where were you when Pearl Harbor occurred? Working at the shipyard.
working in the shipyard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I worked in the Philadelphia shipyard.
And then you decided then to enlist and go on. Well, where was your basic training? Where did you start, and why did you pick what you picked, or why were you sent where you were sent, training-wise?
Oh, you mean in the Navy?
Yes.
Well, I went down to, we were in Tampa, Florida, of course. I went down, and then they gave me a deal that we were driving up to Virginia, West Virginia, for training. And there was a group of guys, and I was a second-class petty officer, so they put about 10 or 15 guys with me on the train.
Mm-hmm.
They took us up on the train, and then we just went through all the routine for a couple of months. All of a sudden, we get on to Elizabeth C. Stanton, and that's where they told me I was, and we took off and went across the country. And I can remember in that boat, we'd gone out, and we got getting close to night. We left in the daytime, getting close to night. And he says, "Walt, what the hell are you doing here?" All of a sudden, I realized, Jesus, what the hell's going on?
You what?
What's going on? I didn't realize what I did, really. I'm not that I was, oh, what the hell is this? I don't understand this deal. I've never been to war, I didn't know anything about a war.
Yeah.
And so then I was, met a lot of people, and then of course they gave me guys on the boat. I was
Now, when you enlisted and then did your basic training where? Boot camp?
go right there in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
We were, and all of us, there's a whole gang, would go out every day
Mm-hmm.
and with a training on the
Mhm.
ships and stuff. And then finally, decided that
You were
going to
assigned.
war was on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was an estimating engineer, and so on the ships, I would have some help
Mm-hmm.
to help me go and do repairs on the ship. And so the first guy that I got, to help me, I met some really nice kids. They always gave me somebody different each day to go repair this or repair that, the ships, and do all the work. And it was kind of a nice deal to meet all these guys that had some different ideas of the war and the whole deal. And it was something
Oh.
to do and talk to. But finally they put this guy with me, and for some reason,
This is after you'd been assigned to this ship or a ship?
on the ship, on the way to Italy over there,
Oh.
and all these stops we made in
Mhm.
different places. A whole bunch of ships. We were on this,
In a convoy.
oh, big deal, yeah. And then every once in a while, and some airplanes flew over, dropped bombs, and they hit a few of them.
Yeah.
And
What year was this? 42?
42.
42.
1942, yeah. We were on our way over there. And so they gave me this kid to work with me. That for some reason, I always wanted to cut hair.
Hmm.
I don't know what the hell it was. I wanted to cut. So finally, this guy's with me, and we worked for a couple hours or so, and I said, "George, looks like you need a haircut." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Where do I go?" I said, "Well, they have barbers on board here." So I said, "But I'll tell you what, I'm not looking for a lot of this, but if you want, I'll cut your hair for you."
You became the ship's
He
barber.
says, "Terrific." I took almost an hour.
Yeah.
Came out good. Oh, the guy went back to the place, and then I had all these guys want their haircuts. So $10, no, $5 I think I made, or $2, whatever it was, wasn't much, but it was just a little extra money that I would pick up. And when we were through at 4 o'clock on the ship, then you're on your own.
Mhm.
4 o'clock, you go, everybody's grouped and talking and having drinks and stuff like that. And so it was pretty nice. And so I had
What was the name of the ship? I don't know. if you-
Elizabeth C. Stanton.
And it was what kind of a vessel?
Well, it was a big cruise ship. We carried 320
Mhm.
guys on board. That's,
This is before you had been assigned to the,
This is troop transfer.
yeah, to the,
This is the troop transfer.
yeah, yeah, this is
yeah,
a troop transfer, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure of what you.
Yeah, so it was a great ship, and we had a good time, and so I kept busy cutting hair, and
You knew how to make money.
well, after a couple of weeks, the superintendent of the whole deal came by. Says, somebody, you're the barber. Oh my God!
Official barber.
Hey, I'm a little scared now. What the? Yep. Well, he said, I want to get a haircut. So he gave him a haircut, and boy, I'll tell you, I was sweating it up because I'd only been cutting for maybe a week or a week and a half. Geez, I better not mess this deal up or I'm in trouble. So I finally took, I said, now, if you're not in a hurry, he said, no, I'm not in a hurry. I said, okay. I said, I'd like to take my time. I gave him a pretty good haircut, and everything was all right. So I got into that barbering deal.
Yeah,
That
got a
was-
one of Bosun's mate's hair raggedy and you're in trouble.
Well, oh, jeez, why'd he give him a lousy haircut? Oh, that would have been awful. Jeez. But he never came back and said anything. I mean, he came back every once in a while to get a haircut.
And that was it. And you still got paid $5 then, or?
Was it 5? I think it was 5.
Yeah.
I think it was
So
around
you were
5.
rolling in it if you had your pay and plus
Oh,
that.
Yeah, that was, oh, I had a little money.
Yeah.
I had a little money. I saved some money and came back to, you know.
Okay, where did you land then, and when were you dispersed to or assigned to the ship that you eventually
was the ship.
ended up on?
No, that was the ship.
Yeah, that was it.
It was-
That
it
was
was-
my cruise ship that I was on, the Elizabeth C. Stanton. After we had the training,
Mm-hmm.
it was a few weeks or maybe it was a month or so, going out in these ships, take us in different ones, and then finally came back, and it must have been the war, that the one you mentioned that we had, that started everything. So then we had to go,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's when I got on Elizabeth C. Scranton, and
So you were permanently assigned to her as a
Oh, yeah.
troop,
Oh, yeah.
troop transfer.
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, permanently, right there. Oh yeah, the whole crew, all
Oh, yeah.
300 and some of us.
So when you reached Europe, then what theater were you assigned to?
Well, actually we headed to Italy, but it was on the way, and there was, what the hell were those places that we stopped on the way to Italy?
Not that.
And we'd be there for a few days, loading and unloading stuff and changing the stuff on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And so finally, our spot was in Italy, and that's finally where we got, and that's where we were for quite a bit. And we'd go out in the afternoon and cruise around and get set off the coast, and then we'd have these guys that we carried from the Army
Mm-hmm.
aboard that take the ships and go in and fight.
Landing craft.
It's- In other words, you had landing craft come up to your troop carrier and load,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
unload from yours onto the.
Unload. Yeah. We had guys aboard,
Mm-hmm.
and then we drive down, and here's a place in town. I can't remember the names of some of them, and then we stop quite a bit from the beach,
Mm-hmm.
and they get in their boats and go in and fight.
Mm-hmm.
And we were anchored there with guns and stuff,
Yeah.
but never went in. And the Army would go in.
Now, were you attacked airwise or subwise?
Oh yeah, a few times there was some, oh yeah, there'd be the message, the bell would ring,
Mm.
and then the airplane would leave, and we'd go right back to.
You had anti-aircraft aboard that you drove them off with, is that right?
Yeah, well, we had a lot of guns on that ship.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, we had a lot of guns, but the Army that was not part of our boat.
No.
They came on in these places. We took them on board, and then we would go out the next day or two, and so there were different towns that
Yeah, for invasion.
for invasion. Yeah,
And
so
most of the invasion points were in Italy? Or
on the way to Italy,
on the way
just
to
short of Italy.
Well, you were at Sicily.
Sicily or?
Sicily,
Southern
yeah,
France.
yeah, right in those areas.
Mhm.
On our way into, and then when we got into Italy, it was a couple years later, and then we were kind of, and that's where we got put off on some other ships. They were going over to Japan.
Hmm.
And so I know that I can remember they said something about it. Looks like we're going to have to get some transfers. And so there was another ship tied up by us. I went in and talked to him. I said, "Is there any way we can get on your ship here? How can we? I'm tired of that one. I'd like to go." Well, go in and talk to the boss. So I went and talked to the head guy and told him. I said, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm an estimating engineer and stuff." But I said, I'd like to get on a new ship. I understand my boat's going someplace else. So anyhow, he said, "Okay." So I transferred out of that one into this other boat, and because this one was going back or going to the front, and so I got on this ship and I thought they were going back to the States. And so then they found out that they're staying here, and they're going, "Oh my God." I want to get off of there, so I get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I had enough,
Yeah.
after a couple of years, fine, I'd like to get out of here. You might get killed on those raids and stuff. But it wasn't a bad deal, not like the guys that were fighting on the shores and stuff. I mean, that
No, I
was,
should say no.
see, all we did was, we didn't do anything until somebody was coming at you, flying. And then go by your guns and get set until they left or whatever. And shot at some of them, and it was.
What was your assignment during combat? I mean, when you were fending off planes on air attacks?
Well, you had spots on
Your battle station, I guess.
yeah, there's spots that
Mm-hmm.
we had.
Mm-hmm.
Every time this thing went, there was places you went to where the guns were, and bomb, or anything to fight with on the ship, and mostly guns and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we would go when they told us that. So it was not too bad a deal. I was awfully happy when they started back to the United States.
No, bet.
Well, I wanted out. And then they were going to Japan.
That would have been fun.
Well, I had been in, I was 28, I was 30 years old.
Mm.
And
Was that in 45 then, probably, that you were, in 1945?
yes, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I think I didn't mention something to him. I want to see if I could get out. I've got a family and things I got to take care of. And I said I got married, and my wife's having problems, baby, and so they let me out. Yeah, gave me the stuff, says go pack.
Yeah. Well, if it hadn't been for the bomb, I mean, most of the European troops and Navy and so forth are all going to Japan. Or
That's
to
right,
the
absolutely.
Pacific.
But I did mention to him that I've got a little problem. My wife is bad, and she might not even live long, and I sure like to get back. He says, all right, just a minute. So he brought in another guy, another officer. I told him, and so now I'm starting to feel a little bit more. And so because I've been in for 3-4 years, or what the hell I've done.
Long enough.
Yeah, so he said, well, he says, I'll tell you what you do. You go pack your clothes. He says, we'll put you off. We'll release you. We were back near Tampa, Florida. And release you. So I go back. Now here's there's 300 guys on the ship.
How many?
300, 200 or so. And I started to pack. One guy came over and grabbed me and said, what are you doing? I said, get your hands off me, pal. He said, what are you doing? I said, I'll tell you what. When I get off the ship, I'll tell you what the deal is. But you just get your hands off me and leave me alone. So I packed. Oh, geez, there was 4 or 5 guys all around. Where the hell? Nobody got off the ship for 3 days. No, we weren't going to get off for 3 days. Sorting it out, getting ready for Japan. So anyhow, finally, I got it packed. Oh, geez, got off the ship and got out. And here's the guy standing on the deal. A couple of the guys up there stand there. And I said, what the hell was that now? Tell him you're, what the hell did I say to those guys?
Tell them you're.
God, what the hell was that? It was a funny deal.
Did you get?
So then I walked away.
Oh. Did you get back any time during the time you were in Europe and on a transport? Did you get back to the States on leave at any time?
No.
No,
never came back. Well, the ship came back once or to New York and loaded up. And then we left. But you're only there for a few days. But, geez, what the hell? Tell them, I said, tell them your parents died or something. And I took off. And they had an airplane for me and everything. They flew me right to Tampa, Florida. It's out of the service. So, boy, was that a...
Just like that, huh?
Yeah, well, I just felt, hey, I lied a little bit, but what the hell, I've been in long enough, and I'm older than all the guys. They were all younger than me. And so I said, I'm not feeling, just tell him, I said, hey, you lost your parents and you got to get home.
And not getting any stateside leave didn't help either after all that time.
Oh, no, there was no leave. No, you were on that ship all the time. And, but it was...
And your basic duty on that was engineering?
Yeah, I was an estimating engineer, and I repair things on the ship. They always always had a helper to come with me for the equipment and stuff that we needed. All different things. This thing fell off, or things happened all the time. So it was. But I had enough.
Any particular occurrence or action that sticks out in your mind as the most influential or the most dangerous or whatever during that period of time? Anything that sticks out?
Well, those times that we would drive these guys over, take them on the boat over.
Load them, put them on the landing craft from your ship.
And there was a lot of airplanes that could see what was going on. And because we'd go out there and we'd anchor 3 miles, or whatever it was, from the beach. And they could see that. And there was a couple of those deals that I lost a couple of guys on the ship that got killed that I knew pretty well. So it was nice to get out of there and see how the world was going on without all this. It was a long time.
Yeah, it, is it?
On the boat all the time. I was on the boat the whole time.
Yeah.
Never on the ground hardly. So it was a nice experience. But boy, I was so happy to get out and get home.
Yeah.
And
What happened then when you arrived in Tampa? Then what happened? How did you then get home and
well,
get started again?
yeah, we were working in Tampa. Oh, I got a job in Tampa, and then I decided, Carol, let's leave, and we went. Where the hell did we go? Someplace. Let's get out of here and go someplace. I think we went to Texas, and stayed there for a while, and then decided to. And then I was getting tired of moving around and moving around to 3-4 places, and that's why I said I want to get into this service too. That was at the beginning of that. We were moving a little bit too. So, but it was.
So you were still married?
Oh yeah, still married, and I just wanted to get home and had a couple of kids,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was nice to get out of it. I didn't want to stay in the Navy,
Mm-hmm.
and like a lot of guys did, you know, they liked the life, but I just wanted to get out and
Yeah.
get off the water for a while.
Like I said, if it hadn't been for the bomb, you probably would have been paddling around by Japan as they were getting ready to send everything into the Pacific at that time.
That's right. Oh yeah, no, it wasn't easy going. There was a lot of activity, and sometime in the middle of the night, the bell would ring.
Mm.
You have to go out and get in your position.
Yeah, general alarm.
Sometimes just stay there for an hour or so, and nothing going on. Then the bell would go off again, so you'd go back. But it was, I was happy I was able to get in,
Yeah.
you know, and rather than ignore the whole deal.
Yeah.
It was our war in our country, and they needed help.
Yeah.
They wanted volunteers, so there was quite a few that.
Well, 3 years overseas is punishment enough.
Yeah, I wasn't in love with the life over there. You know, I just wanted to get back with my
Were you
family.
ever able to get shore duty any time off the ship in those areas?
In Italy, that's all.
Just in Italy.
We're in Italy, we get off, and we get a day off or so.
Mm-hmm.
That was when the war was in Canada, and there was some fighting up in Canada too. So
Up in northern Italy.
Northern Italy, yeah. We were out of it a little bit,
Uh-huh.
but there was times when they came over, and
Mm-hmm.
they didn't do a lot because they didn't stay long.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Well, by
attacks.
by that time our air power had become so strong.
That's right. They had too much
Yeah.
to worry about by sending these
Mhm.
people in.
So when you came back, then you settled back down with your family, back into the car business?
Yeah, that's when I got into I started to sell cars,
Mm-hmm.
and until I got into the leasing of my own, and then I had that for about 42 years. And,
Now, is your wife still living?
oh yes,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Perfect.
she's living, and 7 children we had,
Mhm.
6 girls and 1 boy,
Mm.
and yeah, she did a terrific job with all those children, because there was a lot of times I wasn't there.
Mhm.
You know, like on the ship, I was gone for.
Yeah.
She didn't see me for a couple of years, and so she handled everything with all the kids, and
Yeah.
but it was sure nice to get back and get settled with a job
Yeah.
right there,
Yeah.
and because I didn't live too far from the when I was selling cars, it was just right up the street, and then of course when I got into lease business, I was home all the time, so I didn't go anywhere, and I'd just go deliver a car or something. So it was, I was pretty fortunate. I was very happy with the way things worked out, and I often wonder why so many good ones go, and the rest
Yeah.
of us don't go.
Before we close, is there anything that you would want to say to go on record or anything like this in addition to what you've
No,
told
I
us
was
so
just
far?
happy to get in the service, and I was very happy to get out.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to join. I mean,
Yeah.
it was my idea to join. I would not been taking because I was working the shipyard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's
When
right.
when I went over and told the shipyard chief,
Thought you were out of your mind,
he says,
probably.
"You're not leaving." I said, "What are you talking about? We're not going to let you go." I said, "I don't think you have anything to do about it." He says, "Well, we're going to try."
Yeah.
They didn't want, well, I had a job on with them,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't want you to just take off and leave them,
Yeah.
and they'd have to get somebody else to do what you were doing. So it was nice to get in that service, but I was so
Glad
happy.
you, like so many others, contributed your time and your life, literally.
That's
Yeah.
right, but I didn't want to go over to Japan. I didn't want to go into the war over there.
Okay, let me finish by saying we at this Palm Springs Air Museum thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for sharing the experiences that you did with us today. And we feel this is very important that we retain these memories for our future generations.
Oh, that's good.
We
Yes.
want it recorded and so that the people
Well,
in the future will remember what happened in the
they
past.
all people like that. And
Yeah.
that's what I liked, when I could see what somebody did years ago. And, it
So
was nice.
thank you again, Mr. Tunstall.
Oh, you're sure welcome, and I'm happy to be able to come here.
Good.